Kopi Harris. Our message is that it's really important to take notes during a meeting and also to do active listening during every single meeting with your clients. So,
and the benefit of having this is that you, on the one hand, get the opportunity to learn about what's important from the people you're presenting to, have a dialogue, and also the benefit of keeping the notes of what you're listening to.
yeah, and so many years later, sometimes you'll be able to go back to the client and you'll have something that documents the relationship and the evolution of your relationship with that client. So all of which are very, very important.
And one way to demonstrate the fact that you're actually taking notes and you're serious about why you're using the technology is maybe when there's a pause and you have another of the dialogue openers in between different sections or topics, you can say, well, these are the elements, or this is what I've heard you say today, or these are the most important things that I have jotted down. Did I miss anything? Or is
what have I missed?
Exactly, something like that.
Yeah.
And that way we have the opportunity to reconnect and make use of the notes that we've taken.
So what you're talking about is active listening, and that is why that's one of the main reasons
Yes.
you're taking notes. So one reason is to retain the information for later and organize everything and track the evolution of your relationship. But right in that meeting, absolutely, it's about active listening. And you were mentioning some verbal signposts, but let's identify those again for our clients.
Yes.
Or for our listeners and viewers. A verbal signpost is a phrase that, like a street sign that you'd see on a street, it tells you where you are, and it tells your client where you are, and most importantly, what street you're following. So a verbal signpost for active listening can be, so here's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes.
Ah, so what you're telling me is this. Oh, so what I'm hearing is this. So you were mentioning summarization ones, which can be very important at the end of a section of the meeting. Let me summarize what I've written so far.
Exactly.
Or let me tell you what I think I'm hearing from you are the 3 most important points. And you want to make sure, I always say to people, instead of saying, have I missed anything? I always say, what have I missed?
Right.
I assume I have.
Yes.
But if you say, have I missed anything, their immediate reaction is going to be no.
Yeah.
Because it's binary. So
that's right.
Watch for keeping the word what in there. So what have I missed? What questions do you have? What else should I know? What else should I know is a great
I like that one. Yes.
Yeah.
On another element to show that you are actively listening, even if you're taking notes through a laptop or an iPad, is as the person is speaking to have some kind of response. So nodding or smiling or exactly. So nonverbal reactions lets the person know that you're listening and that you care about what they're saying. And this is also part of dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's important because that way you are continuing to have a conversation even though you're not speaking.
Right, exactly. And the nonverbal, as we have said many times in these webcasts, is often more important even than the verbal. Just make sure that your reactions are positive and appropriate. So you have to
react like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. Or you nod and smile.
Yes.
But you don't want to sit back. I had somebody a few weeks ago who, whenever somebody else spoke, would just go like this. And it looked like he was not involved any longer. And luckily, when he saw his video of himself doing that, he said, oh my goodness, I'm looking so disengaged. I didn't realize that.
And sorry to interrupt you, Kopi, but for those that are only listening and can't see us, the way that Kopi just demonstrated was going back with her back all the way to the end of the seat.
Back of the seat, and leaning back, almost lying back in my chair, and maybe crossing my legs, which would create a barrier, and crossing my arms. So I was really covering up and disassociating myself from the conversation.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you're always sitting forward, that you're nodding, that you're smiling,
That you're
and
gesturing.
that you're gesturing. Well, when you're speaking anyway, that you're gesturing. Though I had a client a couple of weeks ago who gestured when he was listening. It was so interesting. It was lovely because it showed how engaged he was. So if I said something, he would help me think of my word by making a gesture for me.
Right.
It was really lovely and charming. So the nonverbal is so important, and that nodding and smiling is always appropriate. And just as an aside, or not really an aside, but when your colleague is speaking, if you're presenting as a team, you need to nod and smile at them as well.
Yes, and look at
And
them.
look at them.
Exactly, because you want your audience to mirror what you're doing.
Exactly, you're modeling positive behavior. The other part was to talk to you about, and our message was that taking notes is crucial.
Yes.
In part to document the relationship, and in part to do active listening. So what can they do if they want to give us this feedback?
They can just write to us on contact@magicticity.com.
Mm-hmm.
They could write, and you can write a note on LinkedIn or any of the places where you are listening to us or seeing us. And we'd love to hear that feedback.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear what people have to say about this one.
Excellent.
Thank you.